226 practical, which is file organization and management. This series of video is meant to solve this practical for ND2 Computer Science, Federal Polytechnic Movie, and it could be beneficial to other students of the same level. We now start from practical 1. The practical is titled Sequential File Operation. It is meant to create files, match the files, and then patch the records using automated script that is using PowerShell. So the tools to be used in this practical include Microsoft Excel and then the PowerShell. The activity there, activity 1, is meant to create data sets in Microsoft Excel, and you have to open Excel, create file 1, which contains 20 student records, including ID, name, and GP as the column headings. And the record is to be sorted in ascending order and then saved. Then later on, we create a file 2.csv with 10 new unsorted records. And next we do is to open PowerShell and then run the script. That is get content file 1.csv file 2.csv, sort object, and then get the content matched. Get the content matched, and the match file is going to be named match.csv. And later on in activity 3, you have to open the match.csv in Excel and then try to filter some records. And you filter out records, those ones with CGPA less than 2.0. And when they are filtered, then you have to right click on the records being selected, and then you select the option delete row, and these rows are going to be deleted. And then you go back to sort and filter, and then you select the option clear. Then the remaining records will be shown, and the remaining records will be saved as patch.csv. It's going to be called patch.csv, and you are expected to save these files in a flash disk. That is the file 1, which is sorted, file 2, which is unsorted, and the match record is going to contain 30 records in order, and the patched record is going to contain less than 30 records. It depends on how many records are deleted. So the next thing you do is to create the 2 records in Microsoft Excel. You open Excel and enter these records, and then save it as file 1.csv. And these records, I have 20 records here being entered. That is with the column headers as ID, name, and then GPA. We are also going to create the similar file, which is file 2.csv, with different records. You can now see the IDs here 101 up to 1010, and here the records are 2001 up to 2010. So this one has 20 records, and the file 2 has 10 records. File 2 has 10 records. So we now proceed with the practical. They said what we are going to do is to create the 2 files. So I've created the 2 files now, file 1 and then the file 2. And the next thing to do is to run the PowerShell. I will now go back and then load up the PowerShell. We now go to the search box on the taskbar. We click in the search, and then we type PowerShell. So by typing PowerShell is going to be visible, and then run the PowerShell as administrator. You just click on that. So PowerShell is asking whether we want it run. We say yes. So we can from here move to our desktop where the files are located. So now cd desktop. Now the two files, file1.csv and file2.csv, are on the desktop. So we now go to PowerShell and then change our directory to desktop. You press enter. So if you type dir, that is change directory, you can now see our file1 and file2.csv, file1.csv, file2.csv. So the next thing we do is to issue the command. That is, when I issue the PowerShell command, that is the get content. So we issue the command. So you can now see the command here. So you press enter. So when there is no error, you find the command is being executed successfully. There is no error shown. That means it's done. So we can now type the dir and then check whether the third file match.csv is being created. So we press enter. So apart from file1.csv, file2.csv, you can now see the match.csv here is being created. So match.csv is being. Now the next thing we do is to move to Excel, open our file match.csv, and then do the filter. So let's go to Excel now. So Control O to open a new file. So we have the file is resident on the desktop. So we browse. We open desktop. So open our CSV files to become visible. We cannot search even here. Say merged. So we're gonna open the file. So this is the third file, the merge.csv. So we can now see the open merge.csv containing how many records? So it contains 31. If you remove the headers there, it means there are 30 records inside. So we can see some GPs 1.99, which is less than 2.0, 0.99, which is less than 2.0. Another one 0.89, less than 2.0. So these are the kind of records that are going to be purged or removed. Another one with 1.5, another one with 1.65. So we can now go ahead and execute. Now let's go ahead with our sort and filter operation. And you should be at home, and then the menu is going to be visible here, sort and filter. You click on sort and filter, and then you can now say filter. You can now say filter, and you can now see the columns being anchored. That is GPA column being anchored. So you click on the drop down arrow. You click on number filter, then less than, and you type here 2.00. I mean less than 2.00. You click on OK. And these are the records that we have less than 2.00. So what you do is to point at the records and then select the record and then right click and select the option delete row. You can now see the rows are being deleted. You now go back to sort and filter and then you click on clear. So now we have the required records that are greater than 2.0. So none of these records is less than 2.0. So finally you click on save and now save the resident file. So this is what we are expected to do. So we can now move to practical 2.